Players Forum is your source for informative basketball talk about mentorship, education, and community. The ball is in your court. This is your Players Forum.
What up, world? It's Coach Mike.
And it's Agent Tee, and you're now tuned in to episode 5 of the Players Forum. We made it, guys.
Absolutely. We got enough episodes to count on one hand.
Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in. How are you, Coach Mike?
I'm feeling good, actually.
Okay, me too. So we got a really good topic today.
Yes.
I want to jump straight to our ball in your court question of the day that we posted on our social media channel. The question was, have you or someone you know ever experienced a basketball scam? This has been something we've experienced directly and indirectly since the start of your career, Coach Mike's career in playing basketball. With my background in business management, it's always been, my mindset to fact check, to research, vet contracts, and so on. And with basketball is really no different, especially seeing how shady this industry can be.
Absolutely, yes. So you guys have to be careful and take your time when you're going over these contracts and stuff like that, because things can sound good, but then there's some lingo in here that may kind of throw you off, and then you go for the okie doke.
Exactly. And so I'm actually going to read an email that we received a while ago just to kind of preface the topic today. And actually, can you pull that up for me?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going through it right now. Here you go.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay, so here we go, guys. Listen good. So we received this email from a team or a coach, supposedly, and he writes, "My name is blank, and I am the head coach with such and such basketball team. We are looking for a quality basketball player for said league. We are interested." Oh, and let me just say, so I replied and played along, and I said, yeah, of course we have players. So he responded, "We are interested in the player. Please email me back as soon as possible and let me know whether to draft a contract and email it to you or not." So I said, yeah, send it over. Okay. And so his response was, I looked at the contract and there was a clause in there that said visa and all necessary residence and working permits and other documents necessary for player to play for club shall be paid by the player. Listen, guys, expenses during the term, the team shall promptly reimburse the player for all reasonable and necessary travel expenses and other disbursements, including travel to and from said country. Now, does this sound familiar, Coach Mike?
Yep. Pretty much. It was more of the verbiage that I was listening to. That person said a lot of the things that would be in a contract. But there was one thing, of course, that stood out to me right away is when he mentioned the player is responsible for paying his travel to get over there.
Right.
And that for me is a no-no right away.
Right.
That's a telltale sign for me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why I was telling you guys, listen very, very, very carefully. And you, I guess we personally, starting off in the industry, me being support there, we did kind of, experience some of it. It wasn't directly affecting us. I don't know if you remember with that agent that one time.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Yeah, shout out to him. That was my guy, Rob. Yeah, Rob back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was before I got my first opportunity to play. So we were just doing what, normal stuff, networking, and I met Rob in at the Hacks for guys who are out here in Los Angeles and remember the Hacks gym. Right. So I met him there training and working out, and he took an interest to me. We spoke, exchanged information. Long story short, he ended up having an opportunity, well, he thought, in France. So whoever he was speaking to on the email, they were going back and forth for a few days, and then they finally got to a point where he said, well, they can get me over there, but I got to pay my way. And he basically had some type of discount for Rob, and it was about $800 to get me over there. And so he paid the money. few days go by. I guess the guy responded once, and then he figured out like, man, this guy hasn't responded anymore, and it ended up being a scam.
Yeah.
Man, so that was just heartbreaking for, of course, Rob, because he was a new agent getting into the game.
Right.
And then for me, it was just crushing because it was like, dang, I thought I was about to get my butt over there.
Right.
You know.
And I think, not too long after that, because I was like, oh, that happens in this type of industry.
Crazy.
I think that's when I kind of became more proactive when, opportunities came your way. I was like, let me see the contract.
Yeah, let me check it out.
Right,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes.
That is the start of it.
Yeah, really.
Dang.
Thinking back to those times.
Yeah.
But guys, on average, if you're a basketball player, whether you're aspiring or you're a vet, you have experience, or you know someone who has experienced some form of a scam or just a sketchy opportunity. Whether it's a tryout, a tour, combine, etc. Welcome to the world of international basketball, guys.
The business.
Yes, and if you don't know how to spot scams, keep listening. We will be identifying some of the more trendier ones now and kind of discussing or sharing some tips that have been helpful for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just got to continue to work and just do your due diligence. But,
right.
In my personal opinion, I hear a lot of the guys' mindsets, right? So they express these little things to me. And one of the things right off the bat that I can remember was, I don't want to wait.
Yes.
Always say, I don't want to wait. I want to go now. And that's fine, but you got to be patient. This is a hurry up and wait industry, man. Yeah. So you got to be patient. You don't want to be the first one to just jump on the first opportunity that sounds good and you haven't done the work that you should do.
Right.
Another one was, which is crazy, is I'll take anything just to get myself going.
Right.
Yes. I'll take anything just to get myself going. Now I understand
it. Yeah, for sure.
But again, same thing. Take your time. Do the work that you need to do. Even if it takes you an extra couple days. Just get the work done and figure it out.
Right. You'll feel better in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. And then another one is I'm willing to take a loss up front to get the win on the other side.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Ooh. No. We don't want to take losses like that. We
not
understand lessons,
right?
But we just don't want to take just flat out losses because you think that there may be something greener on the other side, and that's necessarily not the case all the time.
Right, and especially if all you got to do is a little research, a little background check to confirm, if something's legitimate or not.
I mean, you keep that as simple as it sounds, but I mean, some dudes may not even know how to research it.
That's why we exist. That's why we're here.
Oh man! And then the last one is a more legitimate one to me, and that's I'm getting older. I'm getting older, and I haven't gotten my first job. Now that is very true. If you're 28, 29, if you're 28, 29 pushing this, okay, we need to go back to thinking about life decisions.
Right.
But if you're 24, 25.
You got
there's still a chance for you. You just got to continue to, push at it. Keep knocking at that door.
Yeah.
Work and make sure you pick the right situations for you.
Right. Right.
So,
as we've discussed in previous episodes, and we'll continue to talk about, going forward. And, we just feel that's why it's so important to kind of touch on these topics, because you're not only, saving yourself a lot of wasted time and headache, but also, of course, a lot of money.
Yes. Money you may not have like that.
Yes. And what it ends up doing is when so many guys start taking these opportunities and getting scammed left and right, it's really hard to decipher, because these scammers are getting better and better, at the way that they
are, man. They chameleons.
Right.
Man.
And it just kind of taints the industry as a whole. And it just really makes it difficult to find a lane to get in and have a good, career.
Yeah, true. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take chances at this. Okay, that's what it's all about. You definitely want to take chances, but just be proactive and don't be gullible when you're taking these chances.
Right. I would agree with that for sure. So let's kind of get into these scam trends. Just to be clear, we're not saying every situation is a scam, but scammers will use these type of opportunities and platforms to take advantage of players. So you have to be be careful, guys. I sound like you. You have to be careful, guys. But let's talk about some of these platforms and stuff where these scammers come out to play.
Okay, cool. Well, one is the tour opportunity. Paying for your own travel with these tours and getting a false promise at the end of these tours saying, okay, if you paid a certain amount of money, you go on this tour, you're guaranteed to get a contract.
Right.
And that is not necessarily the case.
Right.
Okay. So when you on these tours, make sure that you do a lot of research when you're on these tours and figure out, even before you go on these tours, like, is there sponsorships for these tours? Because my personal experience back in the day, after I completed my first season in Australia, as soon as I got home, I got invited to go to a CBA tour. Yeah. So I did 30 days in China. We hit 18 cities. So we played against 6 different CBA teams, and just traveled and got the experience. But most importantly, what I got from that, besides the experience, was the footage.
Right.
The game footage was important, man. And shout out to my boy Haran Hargrave, H2O from New York City. That dude was relentless back then, and I truly appreciate it, because at the time you don't really know what you're doing, but he was on it. He was like, "Yo, we got to get the film. We got to get the film."
Right.
So
I remember that.
yeah, man. He hunted. It was actually one team, we played them 6 times in like 6 different cities. So he got to know the videographer of that team that was filming and doing all that, and they wasn't giving us a copy. It was for them, because it was like preseason. They're getting themselves together.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, he hunted the guy down in the hotel we were all staying in, and he got to him, and he got all 6 of those games on DVD. So thank you, brother.
Yes.
For sure. So number 2, Facebook group scams.
Yes.
That's a big one. Okay. So they're creating fake opportunities just to get you to bite, and then ask for you to send them money.
Right.
And then they use that verbiage that we were talking about earlier, like visas and insurance, that kind of stuff is out there. All these fees. Sometimes you got agents and companies that's claiming that they'll pay if you pay them, that you can get a job through them. Now, I'm not saying all of those companies are not like that, but you should stay away from, if you can, recurring fees. Right. If you keep paying somebody $100, $200 a month and you still not seeing any results, it's time to pull a plug on that situation. You tried it. It didn't work out. Cool. That's fine. Then another one is the coach email scams, which Trisha just read. That's where, a coach of a team will email you directly and say that they're interested in you playing for their team. Okay, hold on, fellas. Let's talk about this. Let's break it down a little bit. Imagine being overseas and you're running a team. You're the head coach. That's what you got a general manager for.
Yes.
Your GM is the ones that's going to reach out to your agent or someone who may be close to you, if that's a friend that played in that league or whatever that has a relationship. That's who they're going to talk to before they go directly to you.
Right.
In certain cases, because this is the new era.
Right.
They do reach out on Facebook sometime, but you have to make sure that you understand that these teams are getting emails after emails from different agents, all the relationships they already have.
Of players.
There's no shortage.
Yeah, and like we talked in the other episode about how many guys are over there, or players are over there playing already, and then every year you got new guys coming in looking for of guys looking for jobs. I mean, these are the most trendy right now, but these are simply the same scams that you've seen over the years. They just have evolved to fit with the time. So
we call it recycled and refurbished.
Right, recycled and refurbished. I like that. Yeah. So now, we want to share some tips.
Okay.
Just in case you ever come across any opportunities that may appear sketchy, these are some tips that we've told our guys and that we apply, in our own, background checks when we receive those type of emails. And so, speaking of emails, if you receive an email from a coach saying they have an opportunity for you, that is a big red flag. Like we just talked about. out. Coaches don't typically reach out to players about jobs, especially if there's already a general manager on staff, which you did say. But in some cases, budget-wise, or when there's a smaller league, sometimes the coach also wears the hat as the general manager. So it's not necessarily the norm, but that will happen, and that's why you have to go case by case scenario.
Exactly. So that, I would say, semi-pro is where you'll see that a lot.
Right.
You'll see that a lot. I mean, when I played in Canada, that's like semi-pro. So most of the coaches were GMs, and they're the ones that's organizing and putting their roster together and being able to cut guys and bring guys in. And so that made more sense.
Right.
That made more sense.
Okay, so number 2, if you do get emails, either Facebook or, tours or whatever, somebody is reaching out to you, all you got to do is really just cross-check the emails, especially when it's a so-called coach, reaching out to you. You can use Eurobasket, right?
Eurobasket.
You can use Eurobasket and just ask questions, because after a while, once you start asking questions, you'll find out if they're legitimate or not. They'll get to the end goal where they start asking you for money. So, and don't give your personal information before you get enough information on them to know, who they are. And then go, like I said, go check the email address, make sure it matches with what is on Eurobasket, or if you have an agent or a mentor, ask them to look at it as well.
And another thing I would love to add to that would be, talk to your boys. Because remember, we had that situation where one guy was posting it somewhere as far as a contract he thought was legit, and another guy came to us and sent us the same contract, and I'm like, hold on, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
So you just want to save your boys from a situation.
And that's why we always suggest just play along. See what they're getting at. Like I said, don't send any personal information.
Right.
You'll find out in the long run when they start asking for these fees. So just be mindful of that. And then you can also, if they start to put too much pressure on you, or start, hey, you need to do this by, because we need to sign this, person by this time,
right.
That's usually a red flag too. And I always say, do you mind speaking with my agent, or, like a relative? They don't have to know anything about basketball, but you just kind of want to test the water. And it was one time when we did that, and remember the guy that got so upset because we had one of the players tell him, do you mind speaking to my uncle or whoever? And he was like, I don't know, what do I need to speak to him for? Either you want the job or you don't. He just really got irate through the email.
That was the car salesman pitch, as we call it, right? Hurry up right now.
Right.
If you don't get it, it's gone tomorrow type of deal. Putting that pressure on guys. Guys are already vulnerable.
Exactly.
Then you do that, and it's just pressure bust pipes for sure.
So let's see, what's another one? What about contracts? I would say watch out for contracts that sound too good to be true. Yes. And even in the one that I just read earlier, in one of the clauses, it said you will have an Xbox, and I seen Xbox, and it just blew me. I
can't front. That's the first I've ever seen since we've been in this. Never seen something crazy like that. An Xbox, you guys? Really? So they're going to provide something that's going to distract you from playing.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So every situation is going to be different, but those are just kind of like our rule of thumb. And at the end of the day, like I said, just do your due diligence, fact check, ask people you trust or somebody with experience. And then also in these contracts too, if they're missing anything about COVID guidelines, that's a big red flag too, because FIBA, if you guys don't know, they've already implemented that with the BAT. So all of the new contracts and stuff should have that in there. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think. Is there any other tip? What about with tours and tryouts?
Okay, let's touch on that. So to touch on tours and tryouts, these are some of the setups for players, to gain the exposure, get the experience, possible opportunities. But again, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. Okay, so of course, the normal stuff, you have to pay for these tours and these not the tours, the tryouts, but they got to cover costs.
Right.
You got to think of it legitimate. If they're running the business, they got to cover costs. They got to pay for the staff. They got to pay for gym time, referees, whatever it is that they're providing for you. So make sure you check on what players have gotten from these contracts, in the past. So when you go to things like this, figure it out. Find out, hey, man, you went there, did such and such get a job there? Who agents is going to be there? What GMs are going to be there?
Right.
And then also figure out what relationships the host of the event have. What leagues are going to be there? What GMs do you have personal relationships with? Find those things out, and then that'll tell you, okay, is this something that I should choose to put my money into? Because in my opinion, I feel like you should only invest in maybe two, max, two of the best combines that you can get to in the summer or in the year. Right. You shouldn't be going to 4 and 5 and 6 of them. Now you're just giving away.
Bad investment.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to one or two and you're talking to coaches and agents and stuff, and then asking for feedback. And if you're able to learn from that and apply that at the next one, then that's a step forward. But if you're just dropping your money off and not utilizing these events and to get better, to learn something new, to shake a new hand, to get a new business card, then you're just wasting your time altogether.
Here's a jewel. When you are at those places, and we shared this jewel with our guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think I know what you have to say.
Have your resume.
Oh, yes.
Your highlight.
Yes.
And some full game footage.
Yes.
In one email.
Yes.
So now when you're shaking hands and, hey, coach, and hey, sir, you got an email, da-da-da-da. Boom. You're able to put that email in there and send it to them right away, because that's one thing I experienced is that when you're in these tryouts, everybody's trying to do everything. They're not passing the balls. All these kind of crazy things that go on because everybody's thinking selfishly. Yeah. But if you are able to get it done physically on the court, but then that guy goes back home, he goes to the hotel or whatever, and he checks his phone and say, I remember that guy. Because if it's 40, 50 guys in the gym, he's not going to have 40, 50 different emails from all those guys in the gym. Right. He's going to have a handful of them. Right. Everybody's not thinking like that.
They're not on point like that.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. And then also I would just say, be careful. And I think you kind of mentioned that as far as doing your background check, because, sometimes, people are not actually or I should say like GMs and teams are not actually looking to fill their roster. They're just there to, show face. So you have to be careful that, these GMs and coaches are not there as a marketing strategy as well. And that's why it's always good to go shake hands, to get to know these people. Don't be afraid to do that. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, because you're building your network. So having a personal relationship or building a rapport with it is always beneficial.
And people love a good guy. People love a professional.
Yes.
Now, we speak on professionalism all the time. That's being professional.
Absolutely.
I would love to be able to meet somebody that can shake my hand, look me in the eye, who can speak well. I can say, okay, I can put this guy in front of the youth. I can put this guy in front of some sponsors once he gets on the team. If I have to send him to a restaurant to promote the team, I know that I'm not going to have a problem with a guy reaching people.
Right.
So always keep that in mind as well.
Any other tips?
Make sure that you plan. Proper planning is major. Right. Is major to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether that is, searching for tours to go on, or again, like we said, going to tryouts and things like that. You want to properly plan these things ahead of time. I'm gonna refer back to my youth parents. When we're doing our thing throughout the year, parents start to sign up for camps in top of the year, January, for something that's going on in June. So I feel like that's what you guys should do, is start to properly plan and start eyeing what combines, if you're starting to see announcements. There's combines all year round. That still doesn't mean they're legitimate as much, because I actually read something not too long ago about Mexico. And how there was a head guy who runs their official Mexican Sipa Copa League. The Sipa Copa League's official tryout is in Mexico, but then there'll be different Sipa Copa tryouts all over the nation. Right. Now that doesn't make it illegitimate, but it's not the official one. Right. So that could go either way. That could be a money grab for a city, They may have a GM or two in there and say, oh, there's no talent in the gym.
Right.
Or you can take your chance and just say, I'm going to travel to the official one where I know all the GMs are going to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very good one.
Yeah.
I think that's it for us guys. Hopefully, what we talked about, you guys took some notes and it's actually useful going forward in your career. Any last words from you, Coach Mike?
Yeah, just do the work, man. Do the work. You'll appreciate it later. Do the work. You'll get the experience for a lifetime.
Ask questions. Ask a lot of questions.
That's right.
Yes. So we want to thank you again for tuning in. Please continue to support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also on anchor.fm. Make sure you rate us and leave us some feedback. And on YouTube as well, leave us some comments if you guys have ever experienced or know someone who's experienced any type of scam or sketchy situation when it comes to playing basketball overseas, or if you picked up a tip along the way and you want to share that with us, please drop it in the comments as well. Follow us on Instagram, of course.
Yes.
Boop, boop, boop. It should be popping right up. Great_gain_athletics. And we'll see you on the next episode. Peace. This podcast series is part of the Great Gain Athletics Inc. organization and is brought to you in part by the creative producers at the Social Group. There's an art to connecting souls. Digital media content creation for the arts and souls.